Hello, colors. Welcome back to Viva Barca and welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to discuss on some interesting updates for Barcelona. We start with transfer news. We start with Julian Alvarez, as the Barca target reportedly has no release clause in Manchester City contract, so the transfer is impossible. We are going to discuss on that as we move ahead. Secondly, talking about our manager Xavi, as a recent report is claiming that Xavi has already decided Barcelona's starting lineup for the Real Sociedad clash on Saturday. We are also going to be discussing more on that. So as we get right into it in much detail, please do ensure to subscribe, turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. Barcelona's interest in Julian Alvarez has been ongoing for a long time. Last week, reports linking the Argentine to the Catalan institution resurfaced, although the update added that Real Madrid were also interested in his services. Now, Oriol Domenech of FCB Wall has provided an update on the situation of the World Cup winner and his future at Manchester City. Matters do not appear pleasant for Barcelona after the latest developments. According to the report, there is no release clause on Alvarez's contract with Manchester City, as opposed to earlier reports. If he is to leave the Premier League champions, it will thus come at a hefty price for any party interested. Manchester City will demand at least 80 million euros to 90 million euros for their striker's transfer, especially with his contract running until 2028. Considering Barca's economic situation, it is impossible for them to sign the young forward. With Real Madrid also eyeing the player's situation, this will come as a big boost to their plans. After all, the monetary aspect will not perturb them much, isn't it? So is it a surprise target? The report adds that why Barcelona are virtually out of the race to sign Julian Alvarez. There is another Manchester City player who interests them, Oriol Domenech, who did not name that player but hinted towards it being Bernardo Silva. Xavi Hernandez has been a fan of the Portuguese star's profile for a long time now and even attempted to sign him in the recently concluded summer transfer window. The Blaugrana pushed for a loan deal with an option to purchase but could not meet Manchester City's financial demands. With the 29-year-old's contract in England now running until 2026, it remains to be seen if he is a viable target. Of course, Barcelona have been showing interest in quite a handful of Manchester City players, and it comes as no surprise considering that Man City's style of play under Pep Guardiola is quite similar to the Barca's philosophy. And of course, over the years, we can't pass any year without mentioning a handful of Manchester City players being linked to our beloved club. Julian Alvarez has been linked. I think I started reporting about this some weeks back. But let's be honest, it looks so unrealistic. Julian Alvarez is such a sensational player. He's a player who can play for any big club in the world and become a starter. But when we look at our financial situations, the predicaments is just too much. Like, we can't go for him because of finance. If we were the Barca back in the days when we were always the richest club in the world alongside the Real, I mean, Barca could have really looked for a way to get him, but it wasn't possible because, for starters, Julian Alvarez was linked with Barca for a long time, even before going to Man City. There was a lot of times we were talking about that when he was still at River Plate in South America. Barca were linked alongside some other top heavy clubs around the world, but Manchester City at the end, did overshadow the other clubs and signed the quality forward. And now Barca are going to show interest in him. Come on, let's be realistic. Now he has a very high market value, and it just kind of surprised me and as many people. Like this report says, Julian Alvarez does not even have a release clause in his current Manchester City contract, which makes it even more difficult, even more impossible and complicated for FC Barcelona to get any deal done. Because what City are likely to ask if any club approaches, according to this report, they are saying that within 80 to 90 million, right? Of course, we know City players are so good, and of course, their price does not come as a surprise. The same thing with Bernardo Silva when we have been linked with Bernardo Silva for uncountable times, and the price that City have always been saying is at least 80, nothing less than that. So I think we should better put our eyes and face the reality somewhere else, because right now our situation is just about bringing up young players, the academy, trusting in them, and I think that's the cheapest way for now to stabilize the club. Then on to the final story of discussion. Following the defeat to Real Madrid last Saturday, Barcelona will be eager to produce a strong reaction and bounce back to winning ways when they take on Sociedad away at the Anoeta this weekend. The trip to the Basque Club will not be easy by any means, but Barca will have added motivation to try and close the gap to the top after the slip-up in the first El Clasico of the season. Furthermore, Xavi Hernandez is expected to recover both Pedri and Frankie de Jong in time for the match, leaving Sergio Roberto as the only injury-enforced absentee for the Blaugrana. Now, according to Javi Miguel of AS, Barca manager Xavi has already decided the starting lineup he will be fielding against Real Sociedad on Saturday. The Barca boss is aware that his team cannot afford to drop points once again, knowing that they have already moved down to fourth position in La Liga, owing to Girona and Atletico's result. As such, Xavi sees the game against Sociedad as a final and will not be making any rotations and instead look to name his strongest starting lineup. The idea is to make the most of any fatigue Emmanuel Alguacil's side might have from the midweek cup clash by putting the best possible team on the pitch from the start. As such, Xavi plans to start with a centre-back pairing of Araujo and Christensen, with the former moving back to his natural position after playing at right back against Madrid. Cancelo and Balde ought to occupy the full-back positions, with Marc-Andre ter Stegen lining up in goal. No changes are expected in midfield, with Xavi likely to stick with Gundogan, Gavi and Fermin Lopez from the start, meaning Romeo is left on the bench once again. In attack, Lewandowski is expected to start as a centre forward flanked by both Ferran Torres and Joao Felix. So guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.